It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. Now, how do we do that? Well, we ask you to do a little work. Yes, I know it's July, summertime, but here's your work. You ready? You go to our website, jillonmoney.com. You click the Contact Us button, and then you let us know if you would like to join us on the program. And Mark does everything else. Today, we have Jen on the line, and she is from Northern California. Hi, Jen. How are you? What brings you to our airwaves today?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. What brings me to your airwaves is a question I had about my next best financial move, which potentially would be related to my long-term plan for housing.
Okay, so what is the long-term plan for housing? Basically, you live in Northern California, so already I know that it's expensive where you live.
Exactly. I'm living in an expensive region to buy a house in. I'm currently renting. I really enjoy where I'm renting, and I kind of enjoy the renting lifestyle of not having a lot of maintenance and worrying about, fixing a bunch of things. I sort of am a happy renter.
Yeah.
I'm now in my later 40s and I'm looking ahead at the rest of my life and thinking, is that really a smart move? Because maybe I want the stability of knowing that housing is sort of sorted out for the rest of my life.
Well, okay, I get that. I mean, I get both sides of it because, if your rent is going up dramatically, sort of with the pace of inflation, you're not able to control that or at least know what that number is compared with, say, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, right? It can be a little bit of a wrench in some of your future plans. What are you paying in rent right now, Jen?
Like $2,200 a month, which is a pretty good deal for my area.
Yeah.
And I love the place I'm living in.
Oh, my. And you like your landlord?
Yes, very much so.
Are you in a longer term rental agreement or do you go year by year?
No, it's very much a shorter term.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's even month to month right now, which is a little bit insane to think about.
Do you think that the landlord would be amenable to signing a longer term lease?
That has not been offered. That would be a good question to ask. I think that is, we're in a building here of about, 10 or 15 units. And I don't know that anyone has a long term. Really, I think we all very much like the owner of the building and just don't know what the long term plans are.
All right. Well, so let's see. You said you're in your late 40s. Are you single, partnered, married?
Yeah, I'm officially single, dating for sure. I was in a 15-year relationship through most of my 20s and 30s, and that ended a few years ago. And I've been sort of an independent woman of the day since then.
I love this. By the way, Mark, did you notice that I'm officially single? That was a good qualifier. How much money do you earn as a professional?
Including like some of the intangibles of the year, like I guess they're very much tangible, but the flexible income like bonus and things like that, somewhere between $300,000 and $350,000 a year.
Wow. You got to be salting away some big bucks on that. Are you putting money into a retirement account?
For sure, yeah.
Are you maxing it out?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a traditional 401k?
Yeah, I have about $800,000 total across two 401ks.
Wow, that's good. Two 401ks, one from an old job, one from a current job?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
401k, pre-tax assets, $800,000. How about other assets? What other accounts are out there?
Yeah, I have a couple I have about $450K in a brokerage account. And then on top of that, about $70K in emergency savings, just in cash.
Okay, great. This is like some serious moolah, girl.
Yeah, I have a couple extra random things like an annuity that someone had convinced me to buy when I was in my 20s, and it now has $61K in it. I sort of ignore it, but it exists. I have about $16K in a Roth before I started making too much to contribute to it. And then a whole life insurance policy that has almost $200K in cash value.
What? Why do you have a whole life policy?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because in my 20s, I wasn't sure where life would send me. And it seemed like a thing to do at the time with my extra savings as a way to diversify.
Listen, I didn't know where, this is what you could say. I didn't know where my life was saving me. So I'd go to death immediately and buy a life insurance policy.
That's right.
But you have no dependents. There's no kids,
No,
right?
I have no dependents. I have a niece and a nephew I adore very much and other family, but no, I have no dependents.
The whole life policy has $200,000 of cash value in it, right? And you're not contributing to this anymore, right?
I am.
Don't. Do not put another dollar in there. Okay. Do you know what the death benefit is?
Yeah, I think it's $1 million.
There's two things to think about with this policy. Number one, you never needed life insurance, but I understand, life insurance like this is sold, not purchased. It's not like you woke up one morning and said, oh, what should I do? I think I'll buy a whole life policy.
Yes.
The interesting thing would be to find out a couple of pieces of information from the insurance company. Number one, if I never put another dollar into this policy, when would the money run out? It probably would not run out. In other words, you would probably be carrying insurance for some period. It might be a reduced amount, but don't put any new money in. The next question is, what is the surrender value? How much money would I get if I blew this policy up today? If I just say, give me my money back, find out what the surrender value is. And then the other piece of information is, if I blew this out right now, what would my tax liability be? What amount of that cash value would be considered taxable income? The reason you want to find that out is that although I would love you to get that $200,000 out of this policy, it is possible that some of that money is going to be taxable to you. Because a weird thing that no one ever tells you when you buy life insurance and they talk about the cash value is that if the money does grow as they promise it does, then the growth of that money is, and when you take it out, it's ordinary income. Okay. So you have a whole bunch of money. You said you're in your late 40s, you're single. You continue to make money, and that's great. Is there anything else in your financial life that we should know about, like other assets or other desires or goals that you might have?
Yeah, so probably two things. So on the asset side, I own a townhouse outright that's worth about $200K out of state that a relative is living in. Mm-hmm. Which could potentially turn into rental income someday, although currently isn't. Mm-hmm. And then I have a hobby that is somewhat of a passion project in a sailboat that I lovingly take care of.
Oh, that's good. At least it's not a horse.
No,
because even though boats are very expensive, they don't eat. So they just eat gas, I guess. That's the only
and very little when they're sail powered. So
exactly. Yeah. How much is the boat worth?
It's pretty much fully depreciated. It has value in being sort of a special thing that was made 40 years ago that some people value for its.
I got it. But you're not selling it anyway. Who cares?
No, it's probably worth $40K, maybe 30, something.
All right. We'll get back to Jen's question about being a renter in just a minute. Sometimes you can feel crazy when people are doing something like buying versus renting or renting versus buying. We get it. If you've got a question like that, give us a holler. JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that tries to help you make better financial decisions, or maybe just helps you figure out what the important ones really are. You kind of know it down deep, but sometimes it's hard to get there. So let us help you get there. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Okay, so now let's get back to Jen. You want to keep working forever? Do you love what you do? What? Tell us a little bit about that.
I definitely love what I do. It would be fun to someday get to a place with sailing where I could take some significant time off and spend a lot of time immersed in that hobby. But cool. For now, I think for the next 10 years I expect to be working.
All right. So if you say you're in your late 40s, so if I somewhere like 55, 60 is,
Yeah,
and,
55 maybe. Mhm.
and look at you. Yeah, 55. Now see how I anchored that? If I had said 58 to 62, you would have said, yeah, 58.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Right.
right.
Exactly. Okay. So, tell me about the free cash flow. So how much what do you think you're saving and what do you think you're living on besides the renting part? And then we're going to talk about the housing. So
Yeah, so I'm kind of maniacal about budgeting, at least keeping track. I wouldn't say budgeting in any sort of disciplined way, but keeping track of where the money goes. Okay, so if I ignore the whole life policy for the moment, I tend to spend about $7,500 a month
okay.
on a variety of housing, living, hobbies, travel. That's about what it averages out to over the year.
That's great.
I was going to say, other than the 401k, are you dumping money every month into that brokerage?
Yeah, I'm dumping money into the brokerage. I'm dumping money into.
But that's how much in the brokerage?
Well, over the course of a year, maybe 50K.
So 50K plus the 20,500 into your retirement account. So you're probably saving 70-ish a year is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably so. And there's some employee stock purchase that kind of gets bought automatically that I sort of forget is my money until it is deposited in my brokerage.
Is that happening automatically? So, or is there some stock position that you have accumulated that we haven't accounted for?
It's happening automatically, so it's part of the overall brokerage picture today.
Okay, I got you. Okay, good. You're paying $2,200 a month in rent.
Love it.
I know it's so good. What would it cost you to buy something that you'd really want to live in?
Yeah, it's tricky. I actually during the pandemic looked a little bit because I kind of had this question on my mind. And I think the real question I have on my mind is how stupid am I for not buying a house? Because
not stupid.
The real, I think the right answer would have been that 24 years ago when I moved to California, I should have bought a house that day.
Oh yeah, like in 24 years ago, we should have all bought Amazon. So let's move on.
And I wasn't in any position to do that at the time. So I went looking last year at things between 800 and 1.2.
So wait a second. In order to buy something, you'd have to spend at least $1 million.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And so we'd have to find 200 grand to put down.
Hello, whole life policy.
Exactly. It just so happens you have $200,000 that's tied up in that whole life policy. You could blow out that policy. You have an $800,000 mortgage. Mark, what's an $800,000 mortgage at 5%, 30-year?
I did this about 10 minutes ago because I knew where it was going. It's about she could totally afford it. It's $3,700.
Okay, so it's $3,700 a month. That would just be your principal and interest. Now, the thing is, though, then you own a place.
I know. And then the roof's going to leak.
But you're in a city. What if you got like a one-bed condo or something?
Yeah, I don't know, though. Is that really, I'm afraid of the condo market, I think.
I wouldn't be afraid of it. I would be more, here's what I would say. If you love renting, then keep renting and then do exactly what you're doing, which is sock away a ton of money. And I bet even with a rent increase that is, we're at a high inflation rate right now. As long as you're willing to run, you have to assume a risk as a renter. One is that hey, my rent goes up a lot. But really, even if your rent went up if your landlord said to you today, hey, you know what? I'm going to $2,500 a month. Suck it. And you'd be like, okay. And that'd be fine, right? And so the question is, what's my run time to get from 2,200 to 3,700, right? That's a lot. That would be a huge increase. I don't know if that's something that's in the future or not. And the 3,700 a month for principal and interest does not include, as you wisely pointed out, maintenance, but also doesn't include property taxes, does not include your insurance, and it robs you of your flexibility.
Yes.
Now, you can afford it. So this is what I'm going to tell you. If you fall in love with something, even if, you said, a friend of mine is selling a house or maybe a condo or something or a great place, and I just fell in love with it, it's close to my boat. It's going to cost me $1 million. What I would probably do is once I've learned about the details of this whole life policy, my first idea would be to blow out of the whole life policy, pay whatever the cost is of that, take whatever you need out of the brokerage account to get your down payment, and buy the place that you love. But unless you love it, I would not do it because it is going to be a heck of a lot of work for someone who likes and values her flexibility. And it's not dumb. I'll tell you when the numbers sound dumb. It's like if you said, I'm paying $5,000 a month for rent and it would cost me $1 million to buy the place that I want. That's kind of like, well, then it makes more sense to buy something. But even then, I'm not even that excited about buying for you because you've already told us, you know yourself, you don't really want that. So don't feel dumb about it. You know, what would be dumb is if you said, oh, I spend all this money and I don't save anything. You're saving a ton of money. You know, you're saving your 20 or 25% a year of your gross. That's a good chunk of money you're saving. I think you're in really good shape.
Okay, good. I'll keep renting, I think, for now until I fall in love with something.
Fall in love with something and get us the details about that whole life policy, like the surrender value and what would the tax event be if you were to blow out.
And I would also have a conversation with your landlord and just see what her plan is for the future. Does she plan on keeping this build-in for the foreseeable future? You know, just find that stuff out.
Yeah, and it would be great if you could. I mean, really would be so awesome to be able to lock something in. Even if you went to I don't know how good a relationship you have, but if you went and you said, you know what? I love this place so much. And I just had this whole conversation about, you know, what I want to do with myself. And I'm willing to sign a longer lease and you can build in some rent increases into that longer lease. Because if you knew that you had 3 years, like if you had to sign a lease right now and says 3 years and it goes from $2,200 a month to $2,400 to $2,600 to $2,800, you'd be in great shape still. It's still a better deal for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the uncertainty of this market that is so crazy, both on the rental side and then also, you know, on the housing price side. And everyone felt like a genius last year investing in, you know, brokerage accounts that went up and up and up for years. But now that I think the market's taking a bit of a hit, it really makes me question the amount of my portfolio that I have.
You're going to be great. You're going to be great. You know why? Because it doesn't sound like you're futzing around with it. You're a long-term investor. You don't need this money for 10 years, right? Especially the brokerage account money. I don't want you to freak about that. You're going to be, I think that, you know, my guess is that you're in some sort of tech-ish business, right? Am I right?
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've seen ups and downs in the business, right? You know, when you've been in an industry for 20 some years and you've seen people go nuts over the value of their stock options to like, oh, wow, they're worthless. Or like, oh, I got into the IPO and I never sold a share. I kind of knew that you were in the business because you were like, no, it happens automatically. It's like you don't wait around for something to always go up because you've been around long enough to see that it goes down. And we're in a cycle. We're in a down cycle now. Be smart. And if you don't really need the money anytime soon, then I would be very, very sure that you are on the right track. And get me the information about the life insurance policy. We can make some better decisions about that as well. Okay?
Okay.
If you, like Jen, maybe need a little help with a long-term plan with some cash flow questions, just give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. If you're willing to come on the air, even better. Hey, while you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. Comes out every Friday. Okay, we will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and this segment is sponsored by our friends at Facet Wealth. Visit cbsaudio.com/Jill for 2 months free off your first year of financial planning. And Facet, they're the real deal financial planning company. You know, they actually have people who are fiduciaries, folks who actually have to put your best interest first. So we're very happy that Facet is a sponsor of the show because they have CFPs. Mark and I are CFPs. See, it all works kind of nicely together. If you would like the input of a CFP, meaning me or Mark, best producer in the world, just give us a shout. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. And even better, if you'd like to join us on the program, don't forget to click that box. Okay, let's go to Anthony from New York. Hello, Anthony. How are you?
I'm fine, Jill. How are you?
Great. What can we do for you, sir?
Well, I had taken a early retirement package that was offered to me at the end of 2021. They call it early retirement, but after 33 years, I don't know how early that actually is. But I wasn't actually ready to retire, but the numbers seemed to have worked, and so I took the package. And I also took a lump sum pension option. And now I'm responsible for obviously growing that and turning that into maybe a monthly income at some point. And I'm a bit worried or how to actually do that with the way the market is right now and inflation.
Yeah, it's hard.
All those things.
It's the weird thing about the pension option is one of the reasons that often I'll say to people like, well, do you feel comfortable managing the money? Because it is a pressure point, right, of creating that stream of income. What was the lump sum pension amount, Anthony?
Well, the actual pension amount that I received was $926,000.
Wow. And so is that now in an IRA rollover account?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything else in that IRA rollover now?
Yes. I also received some deferred comp and some severance money, which totaled an additional $435,000.
But that's not in retirement assets, right?
Well, they had given it to me as a deferred compensation, so I did roll it over. I was told I could roll it over into that same.
Oh, so
IRA.
So the 926 now has 400 something thousand as well?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so what's the total amount in the IRA rollover?
$1,361,000.
I like that you gave me the extra 1,000. Thank you very much. I appreciate
rounded
that.
up.
How about, okay, so what's in cash in terms of just cash on hand for you?
Okay. Well, as far as the rest of the, I have some more deferred money.
Oh,
too.
let's hear it. Let's hear it, man.
So I have a 401k. My 401k has about $871,000, and my wife has a TDA. She's retired school teacher. She has a TDA of approximately $340,000.
And does she receive a pension? Because you said she was a school teacher.
Yes. Yeah. Her pension is $60,000.
Wow, that's good. She
Yes.
was a New York State teacher.
Well, she worked in New York City. Yes.
So she gets health care also, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. That's great. That's a big piece, right? Okay,
Yes.
so now we have the 1.361 in your IRA rollover, your old 401k, 871, wife's tax deferred annuity, 340,000. What other assets do you have out there?
Okay, so that's all the deferred money, and then just in cash, which is really basically cash as far as money markets, say things like that, 1.271.
That's a ton of money. So you have cash and you have the rollover money. Is the rollover invested yet or not?
No, I rolled it over in somewhere in mid-January, and it's just sitting there.
I have to tell you, though, your market timing worked this time, except for it was by accident. But
Yes.
you've lucked out.
Yes.
But your 401k and your wife's TDA are both invested, right?
401k is somewhat invested in the market. There is a cash component of that too, or money, government securities, I guess you would call it. The TDA, she earns 7% guaranteed on it.
It's the New York City plan. It's
Yes.
amazing. It's the
Yes.
guarantee. Okay, so that's good. So you've got that. What's with you guys? You got total wimps? Like you don't like to invest? What's going on?
No, I actually had built most of it up from the market over the years, but somewhere along the line, I can't really pinpoint where, became very conservative and kind of just moved it all over and never went back in again. So now, like I said, my idea is to grow the deferred money because I really don't have to touch it for another 10, 11 years, whatever.
Yeah.
At this point.
How much do you guys need to live on? I mean, you've got this 60 grand from your wife's pension. What else do you need?
total monthly living expenses total somewhere around maybe a little over $8,000. I try to budget 10 just, to have a cushion. But the half of that $8,000 or even more is actually just housing costs. So we're also considering maybe downsizing at some point.
How much is your house worth?
Depends on where you look, but I would say about 1.1 million.
How much of a mortgage remains on it?
537,000.
Ah, but if you sold it, where would you go? I mean, do you have kids or grown kids or,
I have kids. Yes, I have kids and grandkids, two adult children with grandkids, and I have a 21-year-old that's still living with us, working full time. So, yeah, I do have to basically stay in the area to be around the children and grandchildren. I don't want to.
Could you actually downsize if you really wanted to? In other words, if you said, hey, you know what? I'm done with this house. I'm sick of taking care of it, blowing it out. Could you find something, for $600,000 that you would be happy in?
I've been searching around, and that was the plan to do something along those lines. I haven't really seen anything that seems interesting that I would be happy in. So I don't have to get out of here at any set point in time, so I can continue to look. And who knows what the market's going to do, and maybe it'll be in a better position at some point.
Mm-hmm. We'll get back to Anthony from New York in just a second. If you have financial matters that are keeping you up at night or maybe just bugging you a little bit, give us a shout. JillOnMoney.com is our website. Check it out. And don't forget, if you need us, the Contact Us button is in the upper right-hand corner. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. I talk about the website a lot because that's where all of our content lives. And maybe you don't even realize it because you're listening to this on a terrestrial radio station. But if you go to our website, if you go to JillOnMoney.com, you'll find so much great stuff. We've got 2 other audio programs, 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money, comes out every single day. It's like a bite-sized version of this show. And we also have the Eye on Money show. We also have a blog and a resources section, so much there. So go check it out, JillOnMoney.com. Okay, so now let's get back to our listener, Anthony from New York. He's the guy who took the early retirement package. So what's the game plan right now? Is it that you've got the pension, you pull money out of cash to support you guys, and then when you're both eligible for Social Security or you wait till you're 70, I don't know what, and then you grab your Social Security and then will that be enough for you? It seems like it would be pretty close, right?
Yeah, I think so. But right now, I wasn't really ready to take that retirement package, but I did because the numbers seem to work in my favor. So I'm still trying to do some work between now and whenever.
Yeah, but but theoretically, just so let's say you don't find work. This money that's in cash has already been taxed. So to some extent, there's this beautiful moment where I look at the numbers and it's like, well, if you pulled $60,000 out of that every year for 10 years, you're all set. How old are you? You said 61, 60? 61. So for 9 years, if you did 9 times $60,000 a year, you don't even half of it's gone, maybe not even. And then you claim Social Security and you're done and you're good. There's another component to the story, which you wrote to us about. And I want to want you to share that with the listeners because I think that's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. About 10 years ago, I found out that I inherited, in finger quotes, a mutant gene that just predisposes me to cancer. It gives me a higher risk than somebody my age normally. Now, I'm very healthy right now, and doesn't mean I'm going to get cancer, but just raises my risk substantially. So my thought that's what made me take the retirement package and take the lump sum. The theory being that if I had taken a regular pension and if I had died, my wife would get half. At least this way, if we invest it wisely, and if something happens to me then, and I do die before, the not too distant future, at least she gets the benefit of the entire amount, plus whatever it's grown.
Right. I think that makes a lot of sense. I really do. And I'm sorry you have that. It's sort of like a weird cloud that's hanging over, but it's not like a thing this minute, but you have to consider it. So I think you made the right decision on the lump sum. Do you feel like you need some help? Do you feel like you would benefit from working with someone to kind of help you get this money invested, or do you want to do it yourself? It's really, and no judgment anyway, because I feel like there's a lot going on here for you guys.
I think I need somebody just for a psychological push to be comfortable investing it, whether that be on a regular monthly, basis, dollar cost averaging, or put the whole thing in, which like you said, if I had put it in earlier and then with the market being down, my timing was pretty good at this point. But yeah, I think I could probably, if it's just going to be in various mutual funds, I could do that myself, but I think I need psychological confidence to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do it, especially when there's other stuff going on. And like you said, like you feeling a little bit skittish. And that's okay, because there's a whole host of reasons why people like you would feel skittish. And, you know how to accumulate. It's hard to now like be on the hook for this. So I think this could be a situation where having a fiduciary advisor would be helpful for you in in a few different ways. Number one, like having a real cash management strategy where you might just say like, well, I am going to need some of this money in cash. I do need it to live my life for the next however many years. I know that I have the tax deferred annuity that is set at 7%, but the other monies, this, more than, $2 million, that you really need to have some strategy with that. And probably you're never going to use it all, and thank God. Right. But there's a responsibility that I know you must feel to you and your wife and your kids to like get this done the right way. So, Mark, I think that we should give Anthony a name or two of someone who can help him and the family out and be willing to pay the price for that. Like it's going to cost you some money, but I think for you, it's peace of mind more than anything else. And you need someone who's going to kind of hold your hand through this period and give you the strategy. And I think it'll make you feel better to have the strategy. I think that will give you the most comfort than anything else. It's not just like, oh, I want to pull the trigger and get this money invested, but it's that like, okay, wait, I have a strategy and I'm executing the strategy, whether it's monthly, whether it's half of it goes in right now, or whether we build a short-term bond ladder with the cash or whatever, but that you have the ability to have some game plan that you guys can execute and that you feel comfortable with that. If you, like Anthony, need some help parsing through a game plan, then let us know how we can help you out. And remember, the only way to make the situation applicable to you as you're listening is to actually ask us directly. That's what we're encouraging you to do. So give us a holler. Just go to JillOnMoney.com. That's our website. And let us know what's on your mind, and we would be delighted to help you out. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and let's get an email question, because I know a lot of you send tons of emails. We love it. We are so grateful, but we just can't answer every single one. So we try to pop these in at the end of every hour. So this one is from Randy, who writes, I am amazed by the number of dealers that are demanding significant markups on new cars. Now, supply has been low for some time, but I'm noticing more and more that dealers are asking $5,000 to $10,000 or more over MSRP. It's also common to see overinflated mandatory add-ons like paint protection or glass etching and tinting and all those kinds of accessories. Prices seem to be going up, which I attribute to the fast sales of marked up cars, which only encourages further price increases. What advice would you provide to people in the market? When, if ever, should one be willing to fork over this money? I bought many new cars over the years, all discounted. It seems like markups and no incentives are becoming the new normal. Randy, I don't know what to tell you. I think the entire market for cars is so screwed up right now. I mean, according to the most recent inflation report, the price of new cars is up by 11.4% from a year ago, and the price of used cars is up by 7.1%. So the pace of those increases is starting to moderate, but I don't think that this is really the new normal. I still believe that when we get a recession, we'll get one. I don't know if it's coming up any soon, but when things slow down, you are going to see a real course correction in the automotive and truck field. And I think it's coming. So if you can refrain from buying right now, I think I probably would do that. That's a boring piece of advice, but it does work. Okay, if you've got a financial question, just head to the website, JillOnMoney.com, and we will help you out. Jill on Money. We've got a whole nother hour to go, and we'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of Jill on Money, and we are going to get right into it. Let's talk to Matt from New Haven, Connecticut, or as my friends in New Haven like to say, New Haven. So welcome, Matt. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
What's going on? What can we do for you?
Well, we're just trying to figure out, we have, I have about $40,000 in grad school student loans remaining. And we're sitting on about maybe 170,000 cash, and just wondering if I need to get our savings caught up, or if I should just go ahead and pay off all those loans.
Is this a federal loan, and is it under the freeze right now, or are these private loans?
I think it's federal, but I've been paying it the whole time anyway.
Okay, great. And you've got a bunch of cash. You mentioned a we, so is there a partner?
Yeah, my wife and I, yes.
How much do you guys earn together?
Yeah, I think, maybe last year would be in the 230 range.
Do you have children?
Yes, 7 and 14.
And have you guys started to think about putting money away for them for education or not?
Yeah. So probably, I think for my oldest, who's, in 8th grade, we have maybe like 40-ish in a 529, and then about 15 for the 7-year-old.
You guys earn this $230,000. How much money do you contribute into retirement?
Well, that income hasn't necessarily been, the case, for several years. But I mean, currently, I'm self-employed, so I have an IRA. My wife has a 401k, so maxing those out. And then we have a brokerage account as well.
How old are you?
Just turned 46.
And your wife?
45.
So you're putting in a traditional IRA, and you are self-employed, but you've just started to make more money. So that's good. And your wife, is she maxing out her 401k?
Yeah, she's close to maxing. Well, she gets a match, I think a 5% match. And then, the last couple of years, maxing it out. Yes.
I'm saying max out to the limit, not to the match. So I'm talking about like putting,
yes,
all right,
yes.
good.
So,
okay, good. Great. And how much money is in each of the accounts right now?
I mean, I think, the grand total is maybe like 325.
How much is in that brokerage account?
So that's about 115.
House, rent, own, what do you got?
House. So we have 13 years left, and the interest rate is, in the twos.
What's the house worth?
Maybe 325, 350, and 350. And I think we have, I think we paid like 299. So,
and so you have like a couple hundred left on the mortgage?
175. Yes.
How is it that you accumulated so much cash? Did you get like some big influx, or is this just because, as you said, you started to earn more and more recently, and so you're stockpiling cash?
It wasn't like drastically that much more. I think it was more the pandemic sort of coincided with not needing full-time childcare and, like those expenses kind of just not being there anymore. That was a big factor. And then, I think just that combined with a little more income, I think that was pretty much it.
All right. Well, I have a couple of ideas for you. I am perfectly willing for you to pay off the student loans, like literally out of your cash account, which is earning 0.4%. I'm fine with you writing a check for 40 grand and being done. So, which leaves you 120. Do you have a sense of like what your real cash flow is? Like, what would represent a month of expenses for you guys generally? What would you say?
With the student loan or without it?
Without.
I don't think it's, the mortgage is maybe close to $2,000. Typical, maybe $5,000. I don't think it's that high.
I'm going to totally say there's no way. I'm calling a foul right now. I bet it's more like $8,000. Let's say it's $8,000, just for the heck of it. Okay. Yes. So, which means that like, you've got more cash in this account than you need. And even after the pandemic, do you find that you're still stockpiling cash every month?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I've just sort of put all of the, other than like, the monthly amount we had coming out to the college funds before. I think I've kind of put most things on hold other than just the retirement accounts, just to kind of see where to go with all of this.
What is your gross income? You as a self-employed person, what's the gross?
I'd say like 150-ish.
Would you be willing to start a little more aggressive funding of your own retirement account right now?
Yeah, and I was actually planning on talking to my accountant about that as well. But yeah, like trying to figure out what the best solution is there.
Yeah, so I would talk to your accountant. It's just you. You have no employees, right?
I have one employee.
Oh, interesting. You do. Okay, so there's a little bit of a wrinkle when you have an employee. Okay. The best plans out there that you could put the most money away, you would be on the hook for putting away for your employee as well. If you want to put just a little bit more money in, not a ton more, but you could open something called a simple IRA, where you would essentially put money in for yourself. I think you can put in like 14 grand this year. You have to make some contribution for your employee, but it wouldn't be huge. It wouldn't be like, you have to put, 20 grand away for you and 20 grand away for that person. So talk to your accountant, say, what do you think about a simple IRA? And I presume you want to keep this person as an employee. There's no way to make this a contractor, right?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, I would explore a simple IRA, and that way you, instead of putting in, whatever, for an IRA, instead of putting just 6 grand in, at least you can put 14,000 in, which I think would be good. You got to start saving some more money. Your wife is already maxing. As soon as you turn 50, you both get to put more money away. Are you the kind of person you think you're going to work for another 20 years? Or are you like, get me the hell out. I gotta stop working as soon as possible?
I think maybe somewhere in between.
Okay. Something.
I like my work.
I like to, not that much.
Right.
Look, I think you both you got to put some more money away for retirement. The other thing that I think is important is, interestingly, just because of like timing wise, I'm happy with you putting money in 529s. In fact, of the 160 or 70 that's in cash right now, you may just want to top it off and say, I want to get my cash working better. So maybe what you would do is say, like, if you put, a couple $1,000s and you can put up to $16,000 per kid. right? It's actually 32,000 between you and your wife. But, I might just take we just spent 40 grand to pay for student loans. I might take another 10 grand each and pop that into the 529 plans. And then I think if you start saving a little more aggressively for yourself, and then she's continuing to max out, you keep putting some 529 money in, and I think that you can keep using the brokerage account to accumulate more assets here. Generally speaking, this sounds like a situation where paying off that student loan, redirecting the money, getting money into accounts automatically is going to really benefit you guys. I think that that's what works best for most of us as human beings. Like, when you have a pile of cash and it's like, I'm sitting on a pile of cash, what should I do? It's much easier to have this happen automatically. So you don't even have to think about it. And I would be, of course, remiss if I did not ask you about your life insurance and your estate planning. Do you have life insurance?
Yes, we both have policies, and all the estate planning is taken care of.
Great. If you have student loan questions and need our help, give us a shout. It's Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are here trying to answer your financial questions. And more importantly, we're trying to help you get to a better place. Maybe just make the next best financial decision. Not the best one, the next best one. Isn't that more reasonable? Okay, let's talk to Allie from New England. And what brings you to our airwaves today, Allie? How can we help you out?
Thanks, Jill. So I retired from a full-time job back at the around 2017, took a part-time job for a while and just recently retired from that. So I am able to take my pension from my big-time job, and I was thinking I would start taking it this January 1, 2023. But with the market the way that it is, I was wondering if I should hold off on that, because I do have a lot of money in my IRA, which was a 401k that I rolled over to an IRA. And I was thinking I should do Roth conversions while my income would be low and while the market is probably in a good position for me to move some money over.
Yes, we love the Roth conversion amid market mayhem. How much money is in the rollover IRA?
So right now it's about 1.7 million.
Wow, that's a ton of moolah.
When I was working, right, everybody was saying, put the most in, put the most in, put the most in. So I did that for, 30 some odd years.
Wow. What's the pension amount that you would be entitled to in January?
$70,000 a year. And if for every year that I wait, it does go up. So.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. And how old are you, Allie?
60.
If I were to say, well, how much money do you really think you need to live on? What's that amount?
So that's on a yearly basis, probably after paying taxes and everything, about 100,000, 110,000.
Okay, great. That's great. You have a pension. Will you also be entitled to Social Security?
Eventually, yes, but I was going to wait to take that until I'm 70. My husband, who's older than I am, he is already taking his Social Security.
Listen, I'm talking to you and I think you're single, and I was about to say, yeah, I could fix you up. And then all of a sudden you mention a husband. So there's a husband. How old is he?
He's 72.
Okay. And he is already receiving Social Security. How much money does he receive?
About, I think, 30,000 a year.
Tell me more about other accounts you have. So you got this awesome pension. You've got your IRA rollover. Does he have a retirement account from which he is pulling required minimum distributions?
Yes, he has an IRA, and it's down right now, obviously. It's got about 600,000 in it, and we take the required minimum distribution, which is about 24,000 or so a year.
So you've got his Social Security, his RMD of 24,000, and what else? What else are you pulling on to make up the difference? So that's about half of what you need, right?
Yeah, so dividends and capital gains from our brokerage account, which is about 500,000, is another about 24,000 of income. And
then you just pull money out as you need it.
And I'm pulling out because I was lucky enough to have a deferred compensation plan. The company got bought out, so I got it as a lump sum, which was not what I was intending to do. But I did put that money into just very safe CDs. And so I use that money when we need it.
How much money is in that deferred comp now, CDs?
Now it's about 250,000.
All right, that's great. This is all great news. This is amazing. So we've got your rollover, we've got his IRA, we've got your brokerage of 500 grand, you got your deferred comp. You own a home?
Yes, we actually have two homes. We have a home in New Jersey, and then one up in New England is our summer home. But we actually are starting to spend more and more time there, and probably will move there full time.
Oh, really? How much is the house in New Jersey worth?
Probably about $650, $700.
Any mortgage that's remaining or not?
No, but we're thinking of doing something out of the ordinary with it, and that's giving it to one of our kids.
Give is a big word. Hold on, I'll get back to that in a second. Yeah, one of the kids, the one we like the most. What about the place in New England? How much is that worth?
Probably about $200. That's also paid off, no mortgage.
Have I gotten all the assets now when I have the retirement accounts, the brokerage, the deferred comp that's now CDs? I got the two homes. Anything else that's floating around out there?
I do have the Roth IRA that was already established, and that has about $250 in it.
This money is just pouring out of this woman's life. It's unbelievable. All right, let's talk about your favorite child. Why are we giving away a $650,000 asset?
Because she wants to stay in that area. Housing market has been really tough for a young couple to get, a starter house. She loves the house, and we don't need the asset.
What about your other kid who's going to get screwed? You have one or two other kids?
Yeah, we have one other kid. So we're thinking we would, I'd look into doing, maximum annual gifting as we progress and do that. And then I also have a life insurance policy. Oh, that was an asset I probably forgot to mention.
Is that a whole life policy, a permanent policy?
Yeah, that's a life paid up policy. I only have another 4 years to pay on it. And the death benefit right now is probably around $220, $230.
The other kid, married or single right now? The one you don't like?
That one's married.
Are there grandchildren on both these kids?
No,
not yet. Okay. I think I got everything. You got your wills? Got everything done with that?
Yes, yep. Although we'll need to update them when we do the house.
Let me ask you something. There's a way to do this that might be a little bit better for you, and this would involve a lawyer. What you may want to do, you have your favorite child, the golden child, buy the house from you, and you hold a mortgage on the house, but you forgive a little bit of the mortgage every year. So in other words, it's better to have an actual transaction, and then you can forgive the mortgage every year. And that amount that you forgive every year is the same amount that you can gift to the other kid. So you can do it a little bit at a time. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
You need a lawyer to do it, obviously. It's also a good way to make it. I'm into equity, so I'm not a parent, but I think that equity is good rather than equal. Equity is good. So if she wants the house, that's great. But you make sure the other kid knows, hey, we know that she's getting this asset. We're going to have her buy it. We're going to hold a mortgage. She's going to forgive a little. We're going to forgive a little bit every year for her. And whatever we forgive for her, we'll gift to you.
Right. Okay.
So next, let's wait to take that pension. Don't take that pension. There's no reason to do it. So now I agree with you also that it would be wonderful if we could convert a little bit of your retirement account every year so that you can get more money into the Roth. It's not going to be perfect, but based on your income, so I'm just doing 30, 40, 50, 60, 75. So you guys seem to be in right now the 12. You're probably maybe more than 12. I guess it's mostly the 12%. I would go up to the 22% tax bracket for you guys, which filing jointly means you could convert enough money that would bring you up to about 175, 180 grand in income. And that's it. I wouldn't go beyond that. And you do that until you're going to wait. Let's see, you're 60. Is there a point the pension maxes out?
I think at my normal retirement age. So that I guess that's 67, I think.
I mean, it might be interesting to see if you can hold off on that pension for a bit and convert while you do. If you can do this thing with the house, which seems to be an interesting idea, I think that the life insurance is fine. It's just that the kids have to wait to get it. So if you want to try to give them money today, while you guys are still alive and they need the money, you can gift them some of the stocks. Are they in lower tax brackets than you?
Yes.
So I might gift them an asset from your brokerage account if it has if you have big gains in it. In other words, if you have a big embedded gain in something and you gift it to them, they may pay a lower capital gains than you would. That may be where I would gift from. Do you have a pension question? Do you have a Social Security question? Are you looking ahead? We'd love to help you out. It's Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and I am Jill herself, Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst and certified financial planner. And Mark is running the show. He is Mark Talercio, also a certified financial planner. And you know what's neat about being a certified financial planner is that you're trained in a very specific way in your approach to financial matters, personal financial matters. And that's why I've always maintained my designation, the CFP, well after I was ever a practicing financial advisor. Well, if you want to work with CFPs, you really should because they're fiduciaries and they've got to put your needs first. You probably want to pay attention to the fact that this upcoming segment is sponsored by Facet Wealth. Facet Wealth has a bunch of CFPs who are giving advice, and they do it for a flat fee. If you want to find out more, visit cbsaudio.com/Jill for 2 months free off your first year of financial planning. Okay, let's talk to Bennett from Colorado. What's going on? How can we help you out?
Well, I just I'm 55 years old, and we're kind of getting to the end of the line here, and I wanted to get another set of eyes on where we are financially and kind of get your thoughts and opinions on, where we are.
Where you be.
So,
what else? There's a we, so there's a spouse?
There's a spouse, yes.
How old is spouse?
2 teenagers. My spouse is 55 as well.
Okay. And how old are the kids?
The kids are 22. One of them just started a full-time employment yesterday, oddly enough. Yay! And then the other one is going to be a sophomore in college.
Okay. How much do you guys earn together, you and spousey?
I'm in sales, commission-based sales, so it varies between, I'd say, 150 and 210,000. I think the next couple of years it's going to be on the lower end of that.
Okay.
So I would say, conservatively 150,000. My wife she earns about 5,000 to 6,000. She does home health care.
I was so sad
procedures.
because I thought you were about to say, when you said 5 to 6, I thought you were going to say 500,000 to 600,000.
I wish.
I was getting a big okay. So she's $5,000 to $6,000 as just part-time something or other.
Yes.
Got it. Let's go and do some more details. So on your sales job, you put money into a 401k?
Put money into a Roth 401k, correct.
How much is in there right now?
About 500,000.
Is there money also in a traditional?
There is also in a traditional. There's another 255,000.
Okay. So 500 in a Roth, 255 in a traditional 401k. Other retirement assets that are outstanding. What's going on?
We've got some money in Schwab account, and 125,000 of that is in a Roth, and then 243,000 is in rollover IRAs, and we have a joint tenant account there that's 155,000.
And that's money you guys manage yourselves in index funds, or what's in there generally?
So it's the robo advisor funds.
Ah, yeah.
So
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all robo, so that's easy. What else do you guys have that's outstanding in terms of assets, in addition to what you've just recounted to us?
So I have another account via my employer they call it a cash balance plan. That's 53,000.
Is that a pension plan?
It's kind of a pension. It accrues a low interest level, and then it's something that I can't touch until I leave my employer, and then I just will get that money.
As a cash out, or is it, in other words, is it treated as retirement money or non-retirement money? Do you know?
I think it is treated as non-retirement money.
So, okay, what else? Any pension?
I do have a pension. There's a couple of other accounts. I have another 164,000. We have another 164,000 in a 401k rollover that's in a couple of Vanguard target.
What do you mean a 401k rollover? Is that an IRA rollover that's rolled over at someplace else?
That's a good question. I think it's just money that moved early in my career to Ascensus, is the company that manages it, and I don't know. I don't think it's an IRA or a Roth.
It's an old 401k. Sorry, what was the balance on that?
164,000.
So that's it. And then we're going to talk some pension. You know, I'm excited about this.
Yes, the pension. So I have a pension that has a company funded component and then a voluntary component to it. So in looking at that, if I use 75% rates of survivorship with that, the pension will be $4,000 a month.
Holy smokes. And are you contributing?
No, they froze that, I want to say 3 years ago.
Okay. All right. Is there some formula or some point in time where you can take it? In other words, is it 55 plus years of service, or is it like you have to wait till you're 65? What are the rules of the pension and how you can access it?
It's 60 years. 60 years old, you get that pension.
So is it your intention that you'll work 5 more years, or is it your intention, like, get me the hell out and I'll just wait till 60 to crank on it?
Well, I guess that was part of what I'm trying to figure out. I don't mind working 5 more years, but if I have a forced exit or want to pivot to something else in the next couple of years, I'm just wondering if that's possible.
You guys live in a home?
We live at home. One other thing.
You live in a dwelling.
Yes.
What's it worth?
It's worth about $1 million.
Wow. Is there a mortgage outstanding on it?
No, the house is paid off.
Any second home?
No.
What about these kids? The older one is done, so started a new job. Congratulations. Sophomore in college, how are you paying for that?
We have a 529C that we pay out of, and that I think there's enough in there for his education. And the other part of the pension that I didn't mention, there's a voluntary component to that. So the company part is $4,000 a month, and the voluntary part is another $600 a month, or I can take a lump sum of about $118,000.
We'll get back to Bennett in just a minute. This is Jill on Money.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And, so often we hear from you guys and you have very sophisticated questions. But I don't want everyone else to be thinking like, oh, I have to have millions of dollars and a very complicated situation to contact Jill and Mark. No. Whatever is going on in your financial life, whatever is important to you is important to us. And the only way we can really help you is if you go to the website, jillonmoney.com, and you click the Contact Us button. And you can either fill out the form, tell us what's on your mind, ask your question, give us lots of details, or you can click the box and Mark will arrange to get you on the air with us. It's very easy to do. And, frankly, if you're really shy, don't worry. We really encourage folks to come on and change their names or change a few facts. You don't have to go crazy, okay? We do want to help you out. So that's the most important thing. So jillonmoney.com, that is the repository of everything Jill, okay? So bookmark it. Right now, let's get back to Bennett from Colorado. How much do you think you guys spend on a monthly basis? What's your guess?
I would say roughly $9,000. And I don't know if that'll, with our oldest son kind of moving on to his own thing, if that will go down or not. I'm not sure.
Let's not hope for that. Let's just use the 9. You know what I mean? Like it's easier. And then
Right.
If you look, Bennett, at your Social Security future full retirement age benefit, what is that benefit? Do you know?
That is $3,388 a month.
You say you have looked at it. I'm totally kidding.
I have looked
So you're saying to me that at your full retirement age, just so we're clear, of the $9,000 you need, you got $7,000 coming in between the pension and Social Security. That's fantastic. So that's great. So all I need to worry about is this period between now, or let's call it age 60, right? And 67. At 60, you get the $4,600. So then I need some more money that comes out of some combination of these accounts. And then at 67, you're kind of golden, right? And there's no big changes that you suspect. Like at age, if I have you work till you're 60, there's nothing else in this plan that I need to know about, right?
No, there's not. I forgot to mention that we do have some 40,000 in I bonds and another 30,000 in cash and savings. So
great. If you keep working for 5 years, and again, presuming that out of your 150, you don't even have to save so much money. I mean, I love that you're using the Roth now. Are all new contributions going into your Roth at this point?
they are.
Great. And you're putting in right now the maximum plus the catch up, like 27,000 total into that Roth?
Correct.
Okay. And is there any other saving that you're doing just in addition to that? Or is it just sort of like, well, if I have a good year and it's 200, not 150, I'll throw money someplace else. Is that kind of how it goes?
Yes.
Okay. That's great. I mean, I think, obviously, I just want to kind of beef up your joint account more than anything else, because I do want to make sure that you have access to money at 60. Between ages 60 and 67, we are going to have to draw some money down from these assets. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're setting it up so you can do that. But if you say to me, like, wow, I thought it was 150, but it's actually been 200 for the next few years, then I would put that extra money into the non-retirement account. Because again, it's just like that weird period where, the pension will begin, Social Security will not, but you're in good shape. If you're asking me whether you should call it quits right now at age 55, I'm not so keen on that. Like, you definitely have a lot of money, but it would really necessitate, if you said to me, you're trying to protect yourself, like I'm worried that they'll do something and I'll lose my job, then first of all, in that case, does that push up the pension? In other words, sometimes when a company lets you go, that triggers the pension almost immediately. Is that the case, or is it always 60?
I think it changes depending on the scenario.
Think so too, because I have a feeling that if they were to say, like, you're out of here, Bennett, I think they have to start paying out on the pension. So that gives you a little bit of security. If you told me you hated it and you're like, I can't do one more day. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Then I would just say, well, from 55 to 60, I really would want you to make some money to just cover those expenses. So even if you said, I'm never going to make 150, you're a salesperson. I'm a salesperson. I love salespeople. So that means that, you know what, you're just going to do something and make 120 grand a year, even if it's like, oh, you're going to go sell cars. I don't know what else you sell right now. But like if you could sell anything and you can make that money that you guys need, that $9 grand a month, then I think you're in really good shape. It wouldn't even necessitate you saving that much more. Although, I mean, it would be nice, right? But I think other than that, you actually, this is a good plan. I mean, I'm reading the end of your email. So I have a little bit like 2 to 4 years, like, if you left in a couple years and then you could make some money, there's probably a way to piece it together. It's just not going to feel quite as comfortable. You're not going to have that same security. So if you could get another job and you're making 100 grand a year and you're kind of like, all right, I mostly cover my expenses, maybe not 100%, but pretty close, that would be good. We've got to finish up one more question with Bennett before we let him go. So stay tuned. It's Jill on Money, and we will be back in a moment. You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's finish up with Bennett.
What are your opinions on long-term care insurance?
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you about insurance. So look, you guys probably, you don't have a huge long-term care insurance problem because you're going to have that pension. So, if you told me that you have this $1.5 million and $1 million house, right? Let's just say that was all you had and no pension. There would be some risk for you guys. And the reason is that if one of you were to need some care, the healthy spouse, could be left with a much smaller nest egg at the end. But I think with the pension, you should be okay. You could look into maybe getting some long-term care coverage. Is it a benefit through work by any chance?
I don't believe so.
I wouldn't go nuts. I don't really think you need it. How's your health?
Oh, good. Excellent.
Well, stay healthy and don't bother me. No, I'm just kidding. How about life insurance? You have any of that?
We have quite a bit of that, a couple million, I want to say.
In term life insurance or whole life?
I get those two confused.
The one that is the cheap kind, which just goes away after a certain term, is up.
Okay. Term. It's term.
It's term. Okay.
And then some through my employer.
Okay. Good. How about those estate documents that you knew I was going to ask about?
I knew you were going to ask about that. We have those in order. I do have a question about that. The last time we did those was 20 years ago. And do those need to be refreshed?
It's probably worth it because I'm sure that the thrust of those documents is guardianship for your kids. And so it wouldn't be a bad thing just to have somebody take a little look-see and update it because estate laws have changed. And importantly, there could be some specific changes also around how you want to talk about your healthcare proxy and your durable powers of attorney. So I'd have someone look at it after 20 years. I usually say, maybe every 5 years or so. So yeah, that would be a good thing to do. Well, that's a wrap. That's the program. We are so delighted that you join us every week. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer. Try to do something nice for someone else today. Thanks for listening. We'll speak to you next week.